are live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News afternoon / evening talks. What's up, everybody? I'll let the chat load. Just enjoying this beautiful day in Austin, Texas, waiting to do some counterpunching with you guys. I will let fabulous YouTube send out some counterpunch notifications to you guys to let you guys come on in. I'm glad we're 2 for 2. That's how I want it. So whenever you guys come in, hit that like button. I got some fresh content. I've been working, been brainstorming, and been counterpunching. And I got some interesting stuff that's coming up. Some rivalry stuff, some pastime stuff, some new stuff, all that type of stuff. But Ron Von Vlatan, counterpunch from Finland, bro. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Cujo, what's up, brother? London, UK in the house. Jason Pupple, what's up, brother? How's it going to you? It's going great over here. Going great over here, God willing. Going great. I'm feeling great. I think, man, I'm in the 90s now. I was like the 80s yesterday. The day before, probably close to the 70s. And sometimes day before that I was in the freaking 60s. But now I think I'm headed back. I don't have COVID. We take 4 tests a week. So I'm feeling great, Jason. I'm feeling great, man. Thank you for asking. How you doing? Oliver, Han, west coast of Ireland in the house. Nice. Are you by Galway? Oliver, are you near Galway by any chance? Counterpunch to you. The old country. Literally. Slotello presents. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. How's you doing? Oh, yeah, man. I've been counterpunching. Man. Been definitely counterpunching. It's been a laid-back day. And we have a lot of stuff that still tries to stay alive. Like Glovegate stuff. That shit just is kind of like, it's almost like classic like UFO shit now, you know what I mean? And that has more weight if you have people say they seen something, you know what I mean? Jam Star 111, what's up, fight fans? 60 kilometers next to country county Mayo. Kurt, you think Spence will fight Crawford if he loses to Canelo? You know what? That's a very good question. You know what? And I think so. I think it won't mean as much. But the irony in that? If Errol Spence goes and fights Canelo, gets his ass whooped, and comes back to defend his belt, what belt will that be? Well, belts. It would be the IBF belt. What belt did Kell Brook come back to defend before he lost to Errol Spence? The IBF belt. But do you know why? Because the IBF don't give a shit what you've done. They don't care to what weight class you moved or migrated to or experimented with. They only care about, can you make the weight and can you defend the belt? If you can't do that, they're going to strip you. That's the irony of it. So, yeah, that's a very good question. Very good question. Cujo, I think he will after that. Because I think at that point, he won't care as much. The fight won't be as much because, the first thing people will say is, man, depending on how the Canelo loss went, if Canelo goes in there and really just puts a beating on Errol Spence or stops Errol Spence, a lot of people that are tough, hard, plotting fighters like Errol Spence, when they get beat, they're not the same. Think of somebody like Fernando Vargas, El Firos. Fernando Vargas was good all the way up until the time he lost. And when he lost to Felix Trinidad in late 2000, he was never the same. Andre Rodriguez, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Wilder fans think he would beat a 22-year-old prime Mike Tyson. bro. There's no getting them to understand logic. Just ignore those brain dead MFers. You know, I like them because a lot of times you can't really, the truth doesn't really resonate until you hear somebody lying about something. That's what makes the truth that much sweeter. Andre Rodriguez went to Aki yesterday for the second time only. I had my dose. God, that program is terrible. DJ Anton, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Jason Popple, do we think Pacquiao versus Garcia fight happens? Boxing community, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Back to you, Jason Popple. If it's up to Ryan Garcia and it's up to Oscar De La Hoya, the fight will be made in a millisecond. Because they want that fight to be made. They want that fight to be made. They want that fight like that to be made because the chances are that Ryan Garcia shuts down a Manny Pacquiao. Then what happens with Ryan Garcia, he goes from beating Luke Campbell, which was a very good fighter, contender, to fighting and beating a legend. At that point, they know they can call shots with any other fighter. Devin Haney, Teofimo, even Gervonta Tank Davis. I think Gervonta Tank Davis will be more protected than any other fighter in that weight class. Because you see how Leonard Ellaby speaks about it. He's only looking at dollars. All about dollars. He ain't worried about nothing else. He ain't concerned about what the fans want. He ain't caring about that. He caring about how many tickets can the other fighter sell versus his fighter. Can the other fighter sell out an arena by himself? Would it be worth the risk? How much money is that other fighter bringing to the table with the live gate? How much can you ensure for pay-per-view sales that both guys can come together and make money? Those are the type of things that Leonard Ellaby's talking about. So if it don't fall into one of those categories, he ain't interested. You think Pac-Man wins? Cujo, it would blow up in Oscar De La's face once again. It would blow the hell up. De La Hoya would have lost. Third time's a charm. He would be looking crazy. He might do something a little stupid, a little weak, a little vulnerable. And, because then he put his fighter on the line where his fighter didn't need to be tested right now. Jesus Christ, he just fought Luke Campbell. Why do you need to throw him into a Pacquiao fight? If Pacquiao fights him and beats his ass up, they had it coming. But if he ends up on top, it's a very risky move, high stake move. And I think Oscar De La Hoya don't give a shit now because Canelo's gone. So I just think he's like, fuck it. Let everyone fight everyone. Let everyone fight. If you want to fight, we can fight. We can make a fight in a heartbeat. Like, damn, dude. Yeah, puts him to the top of the list. It does, in a lightweight. It's basically what Manny Pacquiao did. The only difference is Manny Pacquiao had his own rivals. You know, he fought Morales 3 times. He fought Marquez 4 times. But as of that, he fought Marquez twice. He fought Marquez twice. Then he fought Cotto. Remember, he met Cotto at a catchweight at like 145 or some shit. And then he beat Cotto. Cotto was a top dog at the time. Okay, Cotto had just been stopped by Margarito. He beat Margarito's ass too and broke his eye socket. That's after Margarito was found out he was a cheating son of a bitch. Pacquiao did it, but then he still had to go back and face Marquez. You see what I'm saying? And then had a close fight. Then he loses to Timothy Bradley, right? And then in a crazy ass, wild, controversial loss to Timothy Bradley, and then goes and gets knocked out later that year in 2012 to Juan Manuel Marquez. So, you know, the only difference is if he takes that fight with Pacquiao and he doesn't have a rival that he's already started anything with, they're still going to view him as one of the top people by perception. Because what's going to happen, they're going to look at him, oh man, he's just top of the world. He has the torch. He retired Manny Pacquiao, and especially if he just goes in there and beats the shit out of Pac-Man, and Pac-Man actually gets old overnight. See, we can't overlook that. We can't overlook the fact that maybe that may be the downfall of Manny Pacquiao. That may be the night that Manny Pacquiao comes in like, look, my shoulder is hurt. Are you sure? Your shoulder? Is it your shoulder? No, lady, really, the shoulder, it's hurting. It's hurting. I can't throw the punch. You know? Yeah, Manny still want that Floyd rematch. He'll want that rematch until they drop dead. They'll be 50. They'll be 50 years old. Floyd be 51 and Manny be 50. I like to fight Floyd. I've been president for 2 terms, but I still want the top of the accomplishment of fighting Floyd and beating Floyd. Floyd is still fast. We talk. He wants me to sign another contract with Al Heyman to fight some other opponent and then fight him. Hey man, how you know that he's gonna do that shit like he did last time? Huh? How you know he's gonna fucking fight you? Huh? Oh, well, it's a good question. Yeah, you motherfucker, it's a good question. You know? I would like to see Floyd school him again. Like I said, I'll beat him 10 times out of 10. And you know what? I'm gonna show you just for shits and giggles that I can beat him 10 times. And we're gonna fight 9 more times. And every one of them, I'm gonna dominate. Oh, rub my shoulder. You still think Khabib should go back and fight McGregor? I think McGregor has another person he needs to fight. He needs to fight Dustin because they're 1-1 now. They need the tiebreak now. See, he doesn't understand. You can't worry about freaking Khabib or Pacquiao or any of that. You know, he needs to worry about the person that just beat him to see if he still has it. See, somebody like McGregor, he may not have it no more. And if he loses, it's a risky thing because, see, if he jumps and fights Pacquiao, he's just doing it for the money. But if he knows there's a chance that he slipped a couple steps that doesn't allow him to be the way he used to be, okay then. You know? Then he may need to just cash out by getting the shit beat out of him by Manny Pacquiao. Poetic Prophet, appreciate you. It's cool. I like it. It's a cool mask. I just hate we gotta wear this shit all day. It's a pain in the ass, but it's a KN95, and a friend of mine makes them in Carrollton, Texas. So he sends them to me, and it has this cloth design on it. So if you guys wanted to pick some up or whatever, these are the ones because they don't make your ear and all that. But I'm growing a beard out, so I got my beard all shitty. So I gotta, you know what I mean, all mashed in and fucking. Looks like I'll feel like a knight. But yeah, it's all right. Mike Tyson is in a weird situation. His peak was in his early 20s. That's wild because most peaks are in their late 20s or early 30s. Slow Tello presents. It is, but understand something about Mike. Mike was just a person that developed faster than everybody else. That's all. That's all it was. He developed faster than everybody else, and then he was a guy that has been fighting for a very long time. He was a freak of nature. Mike Tyson was like 180, 190 at age 12, age 11. Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? He was hanging around. See, understand, when he was hanging around Teddy Atlas, he was a kid, bro. I mean, an adolescence kid. He wasn't even a teenager yet. You're 11, 12 years old. You're not a teenager, bro. You're an adolescent. Sweet thumbnail. Appreciate you, Ryan. Why did Canelo fight? Why did Canelo never fight Manny? Because they were too far in weight.
Hey, Candy, Sensko, we've got feuds that used to be looked at.
Yeah, they were just too far apart. Because, see, by the time Canelo was already having problems at 154. What's up, D-Town Blaster? How's it over there with Lady Shad over here? Slotello, I think Mike Tyson is the biggest if in boxing history. If Kevin Rooney stayed longer? What if Don King wasn't embraced by him? What if that ridiculous court case never happened? You know something? Mike would have knocked out a lot of people. He would have knocked out Michael Moore, Tommy Morrison earlier. He would have knocked out guys like who was around then. He more than likely would have fought George Foreman because George Foreman was a contender at the time. Um, he would have ended up fighting Riddick Bowe. That fight would have happened. Mike's career would have been different. He might have would have fought and beat Vander Holyfield by that time. Why? Because see, when Mike went to prison, he didn't have that regimen, the workout regimen. I think he got more angrier in prison because see, he was skilled. He was skilled, but then he was in there with people that thought they were skilled. See, Mike Tyson, he was already a freak of nature. He was taught by one of the greatest trainers ever, okay, to fight. He trained, he studied boxing. He became the youngest heavyweight champion. He unified, he became the undisputed champion. And he got framed and went to jail by some lying fucking woman. That if you do your homework, she did that to 2 or 3 other men in other situations the same fucking way. Go figure. But he goes to jail and guys try him that think, they do that prison shit. Whereas Mike Tyson is a guy that even if you try to like 3 or 4 guys try to fight him or something like that, Mike Tyson was breaking people's jaws in prison. He was fucking guys up in prison. But what he found out, that was his competition. These guys weren't moving and weaving and, jabbing. No. These guys were coming up to him, trying to pull homemade shanks. But when they pulled something out or went to talk shit, Mike punched him and broke something. So Mike was fighting a lot of competition, but these were like, let's say, I'm not going to necessarily call them tomato cans because these were prisoners, dangerous men. But they didn't understand they were with a dangerous man that had skill. That's what made him so dangerous. And he got hateful. But he got bigger. He got thicker. He didn't train as hard. He got thick, bigger. He was bulky. But he wasn't that slim Mike with the thick neck. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't Kid Dynamite no more. He was Iron Mike. Kid Dynamite to Iron Mike was a totally different animal. Iron Mike was that guy that was created in fucking prison. Now I want you guys to understand that. Mike Tyson came out of prison. He was a wild boy. Don't get me wrong. But when he went into prison, he knew what hatred was. He knew, and it was already fear and hatred about his life growing up in and out of the system. So he was no stranger of it. But when he got into when he graduated, past the gladiator academies, Folsom and Chino and all that, that's in the West Coast. But, when these smaller, this is prison. These guys were trying to, people try to get stripes in prison by doing certain shit. And guys either tried to rape him, tried to punk him out, tried to fight him, to beat him, to defeat him. And Mike Tyson hurt these dudes. But he got so used to hurting these guys to the point when he got out, I guess he had acclimated in how long was he in there? Does anybody know how long Mike Tyson was in jail? Mike Tyson's prime, he would have beat them all. I believe that. Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali have a similar history. Muhammad Ali, the same shit happened to him. It was 4 years for Ali. It was 4 years for Tyson, right? He was in there, 3-4 years? He got locked up in 1990. He got out in 94. So 3+ years. Yeah, a little bit over because he got locked up in 90. And I remember I was 15 years old when Tyson got out. when Tyson got out. I was like fucking 10 when he went in. In 1990, I was 10 turning 11. Okay, he got out in 95. I was 15. Because I remember I was a ninth grader, and we were watching him fight McNeely. We were watching it at a friend's house, at Eric Davis's stone, probably Billy's house. We were all at Billy's house watching the fight. The shit lasted all but half a second, some seconds, right? Speak your mind. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Sentenced to 6 years, but did 3. Okay, 3. But then he got out later that year. So he didn't fight from 1990 to 94. So, yeah, 94. Wait a minute. No, I wasn't. No, I was 15. I was 15. Or was it 95? No, he fought McNeely in 95, I believe. Right? Tyson had such a good defense at his best. He was 35 and old and never had any marks on his face in fights. You know, in fact, Mike Tyson, what you guys don't understand, they did a CAT scan on Mike. Mike doesn't have any, like, damage like that. Ain't that some shit? Think about it. Mike Tyson has took some ass whoopings. The Buster Douglas, Evander Holyfield, including the headbutts, Lennox Lewis, and all these other guys that hit him. You know, he got busted up. He's taking some punishment. He's, you know, dished out some punishment. Mike Tyson was more of a technician than people acknowledge. Peekaboo defense by Mike was tremendous and much better than the one by Floyd Patterson and Jose Torre. You're right. Mike had his own unique style based on his physicality. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson did something like the way Mike, you know, a lot of people do this is the move, like the peekaboo. You know, Mike did it like a peekaboo 2.0. Mike had a peekaboo 2.0 like style. And it was all like, it was so rapid because he was accustomed to people jabbing at him being the shorter guy. And he adjusted, he adapted. He had the perfect physicalities. You think about the neck. You know what I mean? The neck of Mike Tyson. At one point, Mike had a fucking neck like, his shit was, I'm like, Jesus, look at that neck. Got a neck on him like Mike Tyson. He was locked up in 91 and released in 94. But did he fight? And he didn't fight until 95, right, Andre? Bo was too big and strong. Jab was chin. Yeah, but see, the problem with Bo had a reach. He had leverage. He was a very powerful fighter. But Bo could get knocked out too. You remember the Galata fights? Now, if it wasn't for fouls, that would have been a totally different situation. Galata was known for the motherfucker that almost beat Riddick Bowe but got disqualified twice. And quit against Mike Tyson because he was just that scared. Mike was a vicious dude. I never forget that press conference and the buildup between Andrew Galata and Mike Tyson. It was crazy. Let's smash that like button. We got 53 people in here. Let's smash that like button. 91, he fought Roy Zarudek. Bo was past it. Bo was past it. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, that motherfucker was still getting beat the fuck up. You know, Galata was ball bust breaking it. He was punching him all in the nuts. I mean, Galata was retarded. Yes, he was inside after the Razor fight, 91, and released in 94, a few months prior to his fight against McNeely Jr. in 95. So 91 to 95, so 3.5 years, three plus years, he's been out of the ring. 20-inch neck by the age 18. Damn. You know, White has similar hits to Bo when he sits down and swings forwards to left and right. Ryan Watterson. You know what? That is a pretty decent comparison. Because, you know, Riddick Bowe was a big heavyweight, though. I think he was taller than Dillian White. But I see what you mean. He does fight like Dillian White. You know, the way he uses his jab, the way he delivers punches. Mm-hmm. Prime Bo beats Prime Mike worse than Buster did. I doubt that. I mean, no. Even though I love to see it. But then again, I mean, we didn't see Bo versus Lewis either, did we? Yeah, Prime versus Prime. Yeah. I don't
Tracy take Edward to Buffalo.
I don't think that
Tracy, that's mine.
I don't think that
That's who?
Riddick Bowe was good.
Hey, would you step back there by that COVID trailer and check?
I think that Mike Tyson would have beat Riddick Bowe. I think he would have knocked out Riddick Bowe. Because Riddick Bowe, he was good at fighting someone like Evander Holyfield. And him and Evander Holyfield
Tracy, what you checking him?
went toe to toe, but I don't think he'll beat Mike.
Put a depot out front. I'll go up there and look at it.
There was no YouTube during Mike Tyson's era. It was all pay-per-view and PV in VHS. You're absolutely right. Imagine if YouTube was in fucking 90s. Wow.
Bobby, how was the air pressure?
Yeah, he ate bums from Holyfield. Holyfield was not a heavyweight though. You know what I mean? He was a good puncher. He was a strong guy, physical guy, but he hit, you know, don't get me wrong, Holyfield will knock you out because he stopped Tyson. I get it, but man, let's say Mike hit Riddick Bowe with Mike's power versus Holyfield's power. That's what I'm saying. Fun to talk about it, and we'll never know, but Prime Mike Tyson is a unique situation. Absolutely. I'm just saying. I mean, if I think Prime Mike Tyson would beat a Prime Riddick Bowe, yeah, I think he would have. Because Mike Tyson has so much experience fighting taller guys like that versus Riddick Bowe. Can Riddick Bowe said, I have experience fighting shorter guys. Who did he fight that was a hell of a lot shorter than him? I mean, besides Holyfield. Wavy Some, that's what I'm talking about. He was never like that. He was never like that. He was never a hard puncher like, he wasn't a hard puncher like Mike. Mike would hit you and fuck you off with something. He would push him back and punish him. Kind of like how George Foreman did Joe Frazier. Money man, money man. Is that a good analogy for you? Because that may be what you're thinking about. Like a George Foreman versus Frazier. Frazier had a killer left hook, but he couldn't get to him. You know? Salute everyone England in the building. Rap star boxing knowledge. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Yeah. Look at what Holyfield did. Yeah, that's right. Mike Tyson removed you from your senses and you had you drooling. Yeah. But again, of course, we'll never know. It's just all speculation, fun shits and giggles, guys. So it is what it is. Where did you get that unique looking mask? Troy Graham. I have a friend in Carrollton that sells them in Carrollton, Texas. You know, just inbox me if you want some. Boom. But no, you can breathe. The only thing is, I don't like, because I sweat easy anyway. So I don't like it because, you know, I'm always like, it keeps it moist and stuff, like eventually. But you can breathe. Yeah, but see, you're looking at money man. You're looking at the fact that you're saying Bo would beat Tyson just because he beat Holyfield and Holyfield beat him twice. It doesn't work. That triangle theories do not work in the sport of boxing. Let's look at it this way. That's just like saying Jarrell Washington can beat Adam Kalnacki. Wrong. Why? because Adam Kalnaki was knocked out by Robert Helenius. Adam Kalnaki beat Jarrell Washington, but Jarrell Washington knocked out Helenius. Facts. Charles Martin knocked out Gerald Washington. What does that mean? It means nothing. It means nothing until they get into the ring. That's all I'm saying. It means nothing. So what you're saying is you're trying to base this fight, well, this guy can obviously beat this guy, because no, it doesn't work that way in the sport of boxing. Jamal Charlo promoting the PBC protection program again today. Never seen so many jokers. Well, they just get paid so much money. And you got to think of it like this. These are guys, and you have to remember, we're in a pandemic. Since we're in a pandemic, and he's still paying these guys, that makes them that much loyal to never fight really high up competition or whatever, because they're still getting taken care of despite them fighting. So whatever fight he gives them, they're going to be thankful, because, you know, it's probably shit that he does for them on the side, and the high fight purses they have. They're just spoiled fighters. They're spoiled, overpaid fighters on the PBC with Al Heyman. Have a chin and empower you. Mike can't take what he can dish. If you can have a chin and in power, yeah, that's right. But can you take Mike's shit? You don't know that until he punches you. There's some fighters that can, and some fighters that don't. Big Boss, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Jim Brown, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Daniel Cartridge. Tyson was already well past when he fought Holyfield. Tyson was in his prime, 85 to 89. Well, it was good timing, man. A lot of this was good timing. Kurt, why does AJ get all the hate and so underappreciated? Because he makes all the money, and he doesn't have to be in America to do it. A lot of times fighters from other countries have to come to the US to gain their stripes, to earn their stripes, to make those fight purses. Like Lennox Lewis had to do eventually. He had to take that straight pay to fight Evander Holyfield. Why? Because he really wanted to take the fight. He really wanted to make the fight. So how the fuck can he accuse Anthony Joshua for giving Deontay Wilder a straight rate or a flat rate when he took a flat rate? See, he hates me for that, but he can't answer those fucking questions. That's the problem with Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis will tell me, well, I don't like what you say about me. Well, damn, Lennox. It's not the fact that I'm hating on you. I'm just making a point. You're trying to tell, well, he should get a split, you know. Well, fuck, you didn't get a split. You got a fucking ass raping by beating the shit out of Holyfield and got a draw. That's what you got, because you were that fucking unpopular. I don't know, BB. That's a good fight. That's a good fight between... I did a video on that today. Rooting for the hitman from Morecombe. Salam alaikum. What's up? What's good? Let's talk Manuel Char. Manuel Char. You know, I did a video on him. I'll talk about Manuel Char a little later, because I got to drop the video first. I might drop it tonight sometime, like early in the morning for everyone else. Holyfield was past his prime when he fought Tyson, and Holyfield is older than Tyson. Holyfield is older than Tyson, but Holyfield was not past his prime when he fought Mike Tyson. And understand, Mike peaked earlier than other people. We just talked about that. He peaked earlier. HD fam, que lo que? What's up, brother? From República Dominicana. When did Lennox Lewis say that? Oh, he said that a lot. You know, we've been chatting over the last few years through Twitter and such. And Lennox, you know, I know Lennox has took a $10 million. He took a flat rate. What is your opinion on Triple D after he gave up the fight against Joe Joyce? He got to show us. He got to show us what he's about. But then he has to be mindful of that eye. Is that eye healed? Will that eye heal properly? Will that eye heal enough to continue fighting? Boxing is a crucial sport, man. Nordfors. Part of it is his style, boxing and speaking, and not American. Seems like a good, boring guy. He's great though. Can't take that away from him. Yeah, see, Anthony Joshua's a different breed. He's a new breed of fighter that's from the UK. He's the gold. He's like the Oscar De La Hoya of the UK. You see what I'm saying? The golden boy of the UK. Same shit. Endorsements, good image, gold Olympian, money making, highest paid. See, people wanted to fight De La Hoya, Costa Zoo, Terry Norris. All these guys, they wanted to fight the Golden Boy because the Golden Boy with Bob Arum made more money. You made millions of dollars fighting Oscar De La Hoya. People, you didn't make that back then. See, and that's the thing about Al Heyman. Al Heyman he's dropping M's to these motherfucking fighters that ain't really deserved to make M's. But he knows he's going to pay them that much more to keep them on board. So if he has whole weight classes sold up like he has the welterweight division, well, he could always make fights from here to the next 5-10 years just by housing all of the fighters that he overpays. And they're going to get in there. He might give you a few C- fights and then give you a fucking B-. See what I'm saying? That type of fight. He says because people been fighting in that pond calling themselves the best until they KO over here. Anthony Joshua owns real estate in Lennox Lewis's head. Yeah, I got another one to do about Lennox today too. Stay tuned. Love you, Lewis. Love you, big up England. Kurt was, yes, he was, and he had to bow and more. He lost a bow and more. He wasn't in his prime. Is it me or is White Povetkin the next best fight we are waiting for every day? I mean, I will. It's just for anticipation. I mean, all he has to do is not get caught with the uppercut, he'll be fine. But if he gets caught with a punch like that, Povetkin will be looking for that punch. If I'm Povetkin, I'd go do the same fucking thing again. Go to his body, work his body consistently, ripping nasty hooks. Because sooner or later, if you keep feigning to the body and you keep working the body, you keep actively pursuing and effectively aggressing that body, he's gonna move over like he did before. Look, that's what he did. Boop. He put the right down because he thought the shit was going low. And Povetkin threw that shit and bow. So I'll do the same shit again if I'm Povetkin. Lennox Lewis, he fought for Canada. He's Jamaican, from the UK. I don't know what Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis has he has ties to all those places. So don't get me lying about Lennox Lewis. PBC had the 154-pound division hijacked for years, and no one was undisputed. Exactly. That's the type of shit that they do over there. A muck PvP. They'll have fighters never fighting each other. You'll be looking for fights that never come. And they sell other fights, and all you do is watch two different guys that you want to fight each other, fight other people, and possibly get upset. What good and what joy is that? Watching a fucking showcase fight until a cherry pick goes wrong and somebody gets beat. Is an international golden boy, not a regional like Oscar. Yeah, absolutely. But then the thing is, Anthony Joshua is that dude. He's just that dude. And people hate that. They hate the man. If you're the man, you're going to get a lot of hate. They ain't made money like that. A lot of those fighters ain't. Like Anthony Joshua. He was first born in East London. Cool. Top pound for pound of all time. Of all time? I don't know, man. Shit. I know Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis. Of all time. I don't know. I got to get back to you on that one. Deadly 2020. Deadly 2020. Ain't that a bitch? Lewis was born in West Ham, London. He moved to Canada. His mom is Jamaican. Oh, wow. So he's all that. And then some. Gordon Mullen. He said everybody's at the top of their profession gets hate. That's true. Kurt, the Hurt. Let's go, champ. Alexander Knox. What's up, brother? Let's go, champ. The zone Golden Boy top ranked match make is terrible. Sugar Ray Robinson fought the best of the best of their best. What had Lennox done? Lennox beat Holyfield twice. Michael Grant, Mike Tyson, David Tua. He fought and beat a lot of people, man. White have Harold Knight with him now. Too late to change styles, but just in time to gain necessary adjustments. Let's hope so, because a lot of people would argue that it's too early anyway. Lennox was good. He was a fucking great fighter. He's knocking people the fuck out. I was just looking for somebody to dethrone him, but it happened with Rahman. I was very happy that night. And I think it was karma. I think it was some bad seed sown. Why? David Tua fought Hasim Rahman when Hasim Rahman was 18-0. David Tua was, I think, 27-1. Okay, David Tua was losing a fight with Hasim Rahman. Hasim Rahman was taller, bigger, just as strong, but he was sound. They call him the Rock for a reason. He was a big guy. Now, Tua hit Hasim Rahman after like the bell rang in the 8th round. Hasim Rahman came back to his corner staggering because he got hit with that left hook. Because as he was punching, the bell rang, ding, 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 bow! He knocked the shit out of Hasim Rahman. Hasim Rahman was clearly still dizzy, and Tua started his assault. And they gave it to Tua on a short stoppage. Well, Tua became the #1 mandatory. He ended up fighting Lennox Lewis, lost every fucking round except maybe 2. And that was that. Whereas Hassan Rahman fights Lennox Lewis and ends up the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Yep. Kurt, what top heavyweights in their prime did Lennox Lewis beat? Michael Grant, Shannon Briggs. I don't know about Vitali. I don't think Vitali was like far gone when he beat him. I think Holyfield, he beat Holyfield in his prime. Lewis lost to Rahman, Oliver McCall, and Ray Mercer. I believe he lost to Holyfield in a rematch. Well, you know what? That was actually could have been called a draw. I know it's off topic, but who do you think about Eben not being back on hot boxing, if anything, Counterpunch? I don't know. I'm reading a little bit about it. I need to see what's going on with Eben. You know, did Mike go off on him, scare the shit out of him? You know, Frank Bruno. And Lennox beat him. People never bring up Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, he wasn't a popular guy. He wasn't a popular guy. Now, the question would be, if Joey Calzaghe was an American white guy, how big would he be in the States? That's the question. Doing what he did. Halim Bostan, Counterpunch to you. Good evening to you. You know, we're about to wrap here in a few. And I'm glad you guys came in to hang out with me a little bit. You guys stay tuned for some much more content. I'm going to get ready to close this show. Everyone has been counterpunched. Everyone from Andre Rodriguez, Comatose C, Marcy D, NHD, Jason Popple, Gordon Mullen, Simon Colthard, Money Man, Halim Bostan, Triple B, Jim Brown, In Bloom, Joshua Littlejohn. Everyone has been counterpunched. Peace.